baby.
Yeah.
Miracle, miracle, serves. Miracle, miracle, serves. Miracle, miracle, serves. Miracle, miracle, serves.
We keep having all these problems. How we gonna solve them? Every day it's the same thing. Yeah. All these unsolved issues, I guess it's official. Here we go again, the same old thing. And I'm tired of the arguing and lying. So goodbye to all the hurt and crying. Things will change in you, so how can I expect something new? It's the same old thing.
Good morning, everybody. It's your girl Miracle Sims, and you're listening to God, Sex, and Love, your daily dose of inspiration, the juice. It is July the 5th, 2025, and today the topic is the winnowing wind. Happy Saturday. It's happy Saturday, everybody. I hope you guys had a wonderful 4th of July. Mine was just fine. Yes, mine was good overall. I guess my main highlights from yesterday, was eating some good food, being in the presence of family, and I did get a chance to chit chat with Allie yesterday as well. I got some more little announcements. Technically I just found out, I'll go ahead and tell y'all now. I'll tell y'all. I just found out that my my first baby book / 8th published book is officially published today. So I just got that notification right before I went live, and so yay, 8 books down, however many more to go. But my first baby book, and so it's a children's book, but it's baby age range, so very simple type of book, beautiful images, things of that nature, and it's all inspired by this little song that I wrote when I was a little girl, looking up at a plane. And so I'll talk to y'all more about that in the after show if you care. But yeah, I just thought that was sweet. It just got that notification right before I went live. But hey man, good morning or good afternoon. Good afternoon to the Green Journey. Thank you for tuning in. And say thank you for saying congratulations as well, man. Look, to God be the glory. I'm just so grateful to be in a place where I'm able to create and just use my gifts. And like I said, I want to publish everything I think about at this point. You know what I mean? Now that I know how to do it, I'm like, look, ain't nothing holding me back but the fun sometimes, And if I can do a little here, do a little there, and I'm able to make it happen. And by the grace of God, so I'm just grateful for everything that the Lord has put in place and that I'm able to use to bring my visions to life. And it's always good to see your idea come to fruition, which I feel like this kind of can segue into today's conversation about the winnowing wind. There's a lot of things that inspired today's conversation. One, I got to give a shout out to my hubby because he had a dream that played a part in me going deeper about these things. And even though I don't feel it to necessarily share the dream and things like that, but when he shared it with me, it made me start thinking about the different storms that I've been encountering in my life. Again, I've been hinting at you or to you all about the different spiritual warfare that's been going on, and I get it, because again, when you're doing things for the Lord, right, or when there's blessings around the corner and things of that nature, there's going to be some opposition. And so again, the enemy will find anything he can, right, to get you off course, get you distracted, and things of that nature. And so I took some time, again, reflecting on my husband's dream, to think about those things this morning. I listened to the prayer meditation twice, but I don't know if it had anything to do with, this conversation, because again, I feel like it was more so from the dream as well as the time that I woke up, which I don't remember right now, but the verses that I looked up centered around that number. And just really, really reflecting over the things that I've been taking in over the past few weeks, as well as even yesterday. And so all of those things, the combination of it all, led me to today's conversation of the winnowing wind. And I hope that it can be encouraging and inspiring to you. So let's talk about this word winnowing, okay? That is the process of separating grain from chaff by tossing it into the air so that the wind blows away the lighter useless parts, and the heavier, useful grain falls back down. So, I mean, if that ain't a word already, right? We're going to go deeper with that because there's another verse that stood out to me to share. But let me tell you guys how I got to winnowing. So basically, I was going deeper, like I said, about everything that I was thinking about, my husband's dream, the Bible verses, and all these different things. And I guess one thing that I will share with you guys is at some point, my husband was telling me about glass shovels. And I know that's going to sound weird or whatever the case may be, especially because I'm not telling you guys the context of his dream and everything that happened. But I was going deeper about this idea of tools, right? And the things that maybe are meant to break us, and how they are used to build us, right? Used to help get a task done and things of that nature. And like I said, as I was going deeper about all of that, at some point I was, I was looking into openbible.info. Y'all know what I do. I usually plug those phrases in, whatever little random phrases come into my heart and mind. So I did look up glass shovels at openbible.info. Those verses weren't necessarily resonating with me, so I kept going. I broke it down and I went to shovels. I was like, shovels? You know what I mean? And put it in openbible.info. And then that's when I saw a verse that mentioned the word winnow. And I went deeper about winnow because I was like, let me make sure I understand what winnow means, you know. And then as I went deeper about that, that's what ultimately led me, again, to this path. So speaking of verses that say winnow, let me share with you guys this one that I felt led to write down. And it's Psalms 1 and 4. It says, the wicked are not so, but are like chaff that the wind I think I wrote here drives away. So this is not the one that has winnow in it, so my apologies. But I was reminding so when I went deeper about this particular verse that I just read to you all, I was thinking like, okay, this sounds like something is missing, right? It's telling us straight about the wicked and how they are like chaff and things like that. So I did go and look at the verses centered around Psalm 1 and 4. And when I went to take a look at that, it was talking about the tree planted by the river and things of that nature, right? It's bearing fruit. I mean, it's going to survive, right? Because it's right next to the water, things of that nature. I can't help but thinking about those songs, you know, that I listened growing up or listened to growing up. You know, look, shout out to my mama, you know what I'm saying? Raising me in the way of the Lord, right? So, I mean, y'all know that like a tree planted down by the river, I shall not be moved. Just like a tree. Y'all know that one? But anyway, I can't help but think about that song today and everything. And yeah, I mean, we want to be like that. We want to be planted and rooted with the water, right? The living water, right? In the word, things of that nature. And when we are, we're going to bear fruit, right? We've been talking a lot about that over the past few weeks as well. Look, since the Lord done brought me back, I've been telling y'all all about the pruning season last year and, you know, and all of that. But so this concept again of, you know, growing and thriving, and if you're not growing and thriving, you're being pruned and tossed away into the fire. Like, this is reiterated in the Bible so many times in so many different ways. So I think, you know, we should understand that concept. But just in case you don't, right? Again, this whole idea of the wheat versus the chaff, right? So as I was thinking about all this stuff today, I couldn't help but again think about my process, everything that I've been going through and stuff. And you know, there's a lot of things that are just kind of up in the air for me right now. You know, like I see something on the horizon and I know something is about to change or something is coming and things like that. Perhaps some good things is what I'm receiving from myself, hopefully, by the grace of God. But yeah, I've been in this place of anticipation, you know, not expectation, because again, it's no expectation 2025. So I'm not expecting, right, or being like it has to be, right, but there is something that has me like, I feel like I'm just on the edge anticipating something, and it's like, you know, I'm constantly like looking at things and being like, you know, just checking up on stuff, right? Because I feel it. Something is on the horizon, and there's things that I do know about, you know, that I've gotten a little glimpse into, that the Lord's been like, hey, look, here's a little glimpse of this, here's a little glimpse of that. Matter of fact, I don't know how much I should say, but y'all know that I've been in communication with Allie more recently and stuff like that, and so there's some things that we've been talking about. I mean, obviously, she already, I think, let y'all know that another episode is coming and stuff like that, part 2. And honestly, if I just take a moment just to like reflect on that for a moment, I need y'all to remember that me and her got out of communication for like years. Like, me and her hadn't talked for like at least 3 years since the last, since the pop up about when she came and talked about porn. So the fact that we're like in this constant communication now, well, one, the Lord told me that this was about to happen because I told y'all about the dream that I had right before we got back into communication. So that was one thing. And then two, for things to be going the way they are now. And, she's always speaking so highly of me, and I greatly appreciate that. I'm glad that she sees some value, right, in me and GSL and stuff like that, and just in general, and that she was able to see me in my heart in spite of, like, all the different people that are like in their circle, and then not even just in their circle, but I mean, obviously the lady went viral. So, I mean, there's thousands of people, right, that heard her testimony alongside of me. And so the fact that I stood out at all is a blessing, but regardless of that, man, again, so there's just so many different things on the table right now. And I even told you guys about another situation where, it looks like, if the Lord's will, right, if things go the way that it looked like it's going, like, I'm about to go from being like a partner to being like an owner of a situation, and that's a whole nother thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's a huge blessing. But I've been struggling. Does anybody else struggle with good things? I guess I'm guarded, these days, because there's things that has happened where it turns out to be something that it becomes a negative thing. And it still works out in my favor and for my good. And I'm, obviously still in a good place. But at the same time, you can't help but wonder, like, is this too good to be true? Is anybody else out there like that? Now, I'm not going to let that, right, block my blessings at the end of the day. If the Lord wants to bless me, however he wants to bless me, I'm going to be, open arms, receiving it, and do whatever he wants me to do and try my best to steward that well. So I'm not, again, even though it's in the back of my mind every now and then, wondering, like, is this too good to be true? Or, what could be I guess I've always been that way, though, right? I would think about the good and the bad. And then maybe, I would think that good would conquer all, but then there were situations where, again, bad things would happen, and then you're like, so then when other good things on the horizon, you're like, this is great, but is it you know what I'm saying? So but let's not doubt the Lord. At the end of the day, again, you will know them by their fruit. Even you, right? Even your own situation, you're going to know by the fruit that it brings. At the end of the day, if you know that you're rooted and grounded in the Lord, then you know that you have fertile ground and things like that, and good roots, and you're next to the river, or however it helps you to understand that it's a solid foundation to be with the Lord. Like, even if everything, I tell y'all this all the time, especially when it comes to Ali's testimony, because people come on here and they want to, I guess it's like they're trying to tell me, oh, get her off your platform, she's lying, or whatever they're trying to tell me. But at the end of the day, I'm like, regardless of if she's lying or not, right? Because I don't know about her past, what I'm saying? The only things I know about her past is what she shared and the documents that I've read for you all. Outside of that, like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, I wasn't there in her household to witness with my own eyes the things that she shared. But I know this: child abuse is a real thing, and human trafficking is a real thing. And I believe that the Lord is exposing these things, yes, through Ali, but then through all the other things that's getting exposed, or the other ways that it's getting exposed right now. So for me, I'm just like, regardless, as long as I stay rooted and grounded in the Lord, right, and I'm fighting the good fight for the voiceless children that are being abused and people that are going missing, I mean, I'm still on the right side, in my little humble opinion. Now, I mean, everybody can take that with a grain of salt. Y'all may not agree, but, that's where I'm at with it, right? So, worst case scenario, she comes out to be a liar or something like that. But that don't change what she's shared this all 5 years, which is, hey, human trafficking is a real issue. And, hey, let's be more diligent about the children, because children are out here being abused. Like, that's totally real. You know what I mean? So, I ain't, even just yesterday, I shared a couple of things in our community that, for me, I'm like, these are just examples, right? But unfortunately, it's like people take a blind eye, right, to true proof. But anywho, I think it's weird, and I might read them to you guys in the after show if y'all really want me to. But there's an article that I came across yesterday that was talking about, I guess, 20 girls. I guess they was on a camping trip. I'm not sure. I didn't go too deep about it, but 20 girls is missing right now, from I guess some type of flood or some type of storm that happened. And I'm just like, that's very interesting. So just 20 girls, right? That's crazy. Like, it didn't say nothing about adults. It didn't say nothing about none of that. It says it's like 20 girls is missing. And we don't think that's strange. We don't think that's weird. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not saying it ain't real, but I'm just saying that, like, let's be more diligent with the children. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's pay more attention to these type of things. Like, even another thing we shared yesterday about a foster parent was allegedly, according to this news report, laughing at the foster child that I guess fell downstairs, whatever it is, you know what I'm saying, and I guess just let the child die. Like, I don't understand, like, how we're not seeing and hearing these things that are being exposed. But hey, let's stay prayed up, you know what I mean? Let's let the Lord lead you and guide you and things like that. But again, we know what's real, right? The real versus the fake. And that's what this conversation is about. Again, the wheat versus the chaff. And at the end of the day, the wheat is going to stand, right? The wheat is going to fall back down and be able to be gathered and things of that nature. But the chaff is going to blow away. And that is just a little glimpse into the winnowing wind. Let me give you guys another verse that I felt led to write down this morning. And it was Jeremiah 51:2. It says, and I will send Babylon winnowers, and they shall winnow her, and they shall empty her land where they come against her from every side on the day of trouble. Now listen, it depends on where you are spiritually, whether this was good news or bad news. For me, I'm looking at that as some good news, right? There are winnowers that are coming and again, helping to separate the wheat from the chaff. At the end of the day, we could be the winnowers, friends, like me and you, right? If you were believers in Christ, things like that, we may be the winnowers, right? We may be part of that winnowing wind, helping to shake things up for people to see truth, right? For people to see the real versus the fake, things of that nature. I was receiving that about myself this morning in quite a few situations. I don't feel it to go deeper about all of them, but basically, I can see how I may be part of that in different circles and different things that I'm a part of when I see, I hate to say corruption because I know that word is so big, right? But when I see things that don't fully line up the way it should, right? And I guess I'm there to help shine light on those things. And it can be difficult to be in that position because you're like, why am I the only one? You feel that way sometimes, but I know I'm not. And again, the Lord has a remnant, right? So there's more than just me out here shining light, right? And helping to be winnowing wind and things like that. But I guess I'm sharing all this to say that if you feel like that, right? If you're in situations where you feel like you're the only one exposing light and you're the only one that's like, acknowledging issues and trying to, again, do things God's way and things like that. Like, just be strong in that, right? At the end of the day, you know that you are not going to fail. Like, God is not going to leave us or shame us and things like that, right? Again, his word goes deeper about all those things that I just said. But basically, again, if you are wheat, then we ain't got nothing to worry about. Now, if you are shaft, then you're going to get blown away with the wind, right? You're going to get burned in the fire, things of that nature. I know at some point me and Allie was talking about some things and she just kind of was expressing her frustration with, I guess, other podcasters or other people that are reaching out to her. And I guess, once again, being like, saying all these great things about me. And I'm just like, hey, at the end of the day, like, I'm just, human out here just trying to do my part. I'm glad that we're in communication. I'm glad that, I'm able to, whatever it is that you see in me, that I'm so grateful. Like, look, the Jesus in me, look, the Jesus in you. That's all it is, I believe, at the end of the day. But when it comes to, I get it that how it can be a struggle to trust people when you're not able to withstand the fire, right? You see the fire and then you run, or you see the wind coming or whatever, and you allowing it to blow you away versus standing, right, and being firm and on that firm foundation of Christ, right? again, we can talk about this in a variety of ways. I mean, this is just the example that came into my mind in regards to what Ali was saying. But I mean, again, even just as a believer, right? What's truly in your heart is going to be exposed when you go through trials and tribulations, and when there's issues, right? Because if you fall, right, if you and don't get me wrong, like, falling and getting back up, that's one thing, right? But falling and letting that thing take you out, that's a whole nother thing, right? That shows whether you are rooted and grounded, right? That shows whether you truly believe, right, what you say you believe. And so I hope that you're really considering these things, friends, because again, the winds will be there, right? The fire will be there. But will you withstand it? That is the question. You guys can go deeper, man. I didn't feel led to write down what happens, right, to those that don't withstand the wind, right, and the fires and things like that. Y'all can go deeper with that and just go, like I said, to openbible.info and plug in that phrase, the winnowing wind, and read all those verses and let them marinate on your heart, soul, and mind. But the one thing I do feel led to share with you guys before I go about this conversation is this little quote right here. It says, "You don't have to expose anybody, the wind will." Look, and that's the juice, man. That is the juice for today. Let me give you guys the Bible verses today, and that is Matthew 6:34. It says, "Take therefore no thought for the morrow, for the morrow shall take thought for the things of itself. Suffereth the day is the evil there." Oh, excuse me, sufficient. I'm still not doing better with my writing, y'all, so my apologies. But y'all just go check out Matthew 6:34 for yourself, since I done jumbled it up. But basically it's letting us know that, there's enough evil for the day itself. And that's the juice, y'all. That is the juice. Y'all have a wonderful, wonderful Saturday, and I look forward to talking to you all on Monday, if the Lord's will. Bye-bye.